Hi, it's Chris Flanagan. In this video I'm going to be doing some basic benchmarks and testing the thermal performance of my son's gaming PC. So this was the InWin 301 £1,000 gaming PC that I built about 6 months ago. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link to it in the description. But just to familiarise yourself with the build, this was in InWin's 301 Micro-ATX gaming case. We had the ASRock B450M Steel Legend motherboard. We had AMD's Ryzen 5 2600 processor. We had NVIDIA's RTX 2060 graphics card. Keeping everything cool was Corsair's Hydro 100i RGB Platinum liquid CPU cooler. And we had 16 gigabytes of HyperX Predator RAM running at 3200 megahertz. There was 2 additional InWin fans, one Aluminium RGB fan and 2 of InWin's Polaris premium RGB fans. And we had 4 different hard drives in the build. So that was a build I built about 6 months ago. It looked absolutely great. I was really impressed with how it looked, but I never got round to testing the performance and the thermals. Primarily because it was my son's PC, but I got a lot of comments, it's got a lot of views on YouTube and people were asking for it. So I decided today I'd do the same benchmarks I've done with my own 2 builds. So the first benchmark I looked at was Cinebench doing the CPU test, and we got a score here of 2,597. The next test was the Unigine Heaven benchmark, and we did this with the settings you can see on the screen at the moment. Running this, we got a score of 2,737, average frames per second of 108.7, with a minimum of 35.2 and a max of 208.8. Next test was the TimeSpy benchmark, where we got a total score of 6,896. The graphics score was 7,159 and a CPU score of 5,711. Next test was Assassin's Creed Odyssey using the built-in game benchmark. So you can see the settings here at the bottom right hand corner. The resolution was 2560 by 1440 with the graphics quality set to ultra high. So we had an average frames per second of 24 with a minimum of 11 and a max of 41. Like I did with my own testing videos, I wanted to see how it performed on 1080p. So I reduced the resolution down to 1080p, and I've also reduced the graphics quality down to high. This time we had 33 frames per second, minimum of 12 and a max of 47. So the next thing I wanted to test was the thermal performance, and setting up the Corsair AIO, we had everything turned to balanced. Both the fans on the radiator and the pump set to balanced. So the other options you have are quiet and extreme. And unbalanced, it was already quite loud, so I didn't want to set it to extreme because that wouldn't be something that you would leave it on. And the 2 tests I did, I wanted to look at, well, before I did the 2 tests, I let it run in Windows with nothing running in the background and got the idle temperatures of both the CPU and the GPU. I then did 30 minutes of gaming, and so this is comparable with my other 2 builds. I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey and recorded the maximum temperatures for the GPU and the CPU during gaming. After I had done this, I wanted to push things a little bit further. So I did an IDA 64 stability test, and during the stability test, ran this for half an hour. And during it, I had all the boxes ticked. So we were stressing everything, the CPU, the GPU, and all the internal disks. Okay, so going on to look at the temperatures, the idle temperature of the CPU was 34 and the GPU was 39. After 30 minutes of gaming, the maximum CPU temperature was 50 and the maximum GPU temperature was 63. We then went on to stress things a little bit further with the AIDA64 stability test, and during this we got a max CPU temperature of 76 and a maximum GPU temperature of 70. So these results actually really surprised me. I was expecting things to be much hotter than what they were, given that this was a Micro-ATX case, and when others had reviewed this, they had mentioned that the temperatures were pretty hot. But this isn't a quiet build. The fans in both the GPU and the CPU AIO run quite loud, even in the balance mode. So I think is that they're working hard, but they manage to keep the system pretty cool under these stressful environments. So all in all, I think the build looks great, but also it's pretty cool, even when you're pushing it under gaming or under a stability test with the AIDA64. So I hope you find this useful if you're thinking of doing something similar in this case or with the similar components. If you've liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe for future videos. Thanks for watching.